And there you have it. Hi, my name's Liz. I work production with Chinatown Market, and today I'm going to show you how to hand embroider. Hand embroidery is the art of stitching through a garment to create different imagery. I'm going to be showing you two different types of stitches. One is back stitch and the second is a chain stitch. The materials you're going to need are an embroidery hoop, snips to trim your thread, and a marking device. I'm going to use chalk on the dark garment and pencil on the light garment. That's all you need. And your thread. Shit, duh, your thread. Oh, the needles aren't here. Sorry, guys. Did I see the materials and I didn't mention a needle? You totally need a needle. Hey guys, you know what I forgot when I was talking about materials is your needle. You can't stitch without this. So a back stitch, it's gonna look just like little stitches. The underside is gonna have a crossover, so you're have a strong, secure stitch, but the front is gonna look like a regular stitch. You're gonna take your hoop, separate the two pieces. The one with the hardware is gonna go on the bottom. Depending on what garment you're using and the thickness of the fabric, you can adjust however you need. You don't need an embroidery hoop, but it sure helps. So you can kind of see the hoop underneath, the shadow. So you're just gonna position it to where the letters or the imagery that you're tracing over fits in. Take the top part, push it in so that this stays nice and taut. I'm going to flip this inside out and tighten it even more. Okay, now you're gonna thread your needle. If you're gonna be doing a lot of hand stitching, invest in this. Otherwise, your thread's gonna get very knotted. What this is just little pieces of cardboard with slits in it, because as you're pulling, see that? See?
Who's that Pokemon?
What is that? Hook it in here and just wrap around. I promise it's gonna save you so much time. These get tangled more than anything I've ever seen. So I don't need too much. I'm gonna stop it right here, and I'll be cutting from this now. Foot or so of thread, slip it through the eye of the needle. This embroidery thread is actually two threads wound together in order to make sure it goes through. I'm gonna lick it a little bit. There she is. Okay. You're gonna want one side to be a little bit shorter than the other, and on the longer side, you're gonna tie a knot. Loop, swoop, and pull, and I'm gonna do another one for good luck. You want to make sure those two knots are right on top of each other so it creates one. And you're ready to stitch. Take your needle from the underside and push through. You can make them really long, like this. I prefer them smaller. I think it looks a little bit more detailed. Down. Then you're gonna bring your needle back up along the edge of this vinyl cut. Pull your needle through and reverse. Okay, so I'm coming around to the curve. I'm gonna hit this edge of the corner here. And when you get to the end, you have to do a little baby stitch. That's totally okay. I'm gonna do that right here so I can create that sharp angle on the edge of the C. When you're pulling the thread, just let it go how it wants to. Don't pull it too tight, otherwise the shirt's gonna scrunch up and look bubbly and weird. You want it to lay nice and flat and be one with the garment. Be one with the garment. Be one with the garment. Be one with the garment.
What's the coolest thing you've ever embroidered?
Something for my dog. I embroidered his little name on a bandana, so when he's walking, you can see people don't have to ask what his name is. It's pretty sweet. So say you're stitching and your thread's getting a little short, you don't have too much slack. We're gonna tie it off and start a new thread. So you're gonna take that thread, or that needle, pull it through to the opposite side, and you're gonna create a knot. These embroidery threads are usually at least two wrapped around each other. Trim it a little shorter and separate those two. So you're gonna unwind. You can use the needle to help you here to find that center. And now you have your two threads. You're gonna knot these two and trim your excess. Now that we've tied it off, you're gonna start the same process again. Take the thread through the needle, up and through until your thread runs out, and you're gonna tie it off until you get the whole image embroidered. Okay, here it is. Did a two-tone thread, red on the china, black on the town. We did a back stitch going all across along the vinyl to outline this application here, add a little bit of dimension, texture, and most of all, little bit of personality. Next, I'm gonna show you chain stitch. So in order to mark where I'm gonna stitch, I'm gonna mark this with chalk. If you don't have this, you can always use a pencil. Just make sure it's dark enough. Right now, I'm just marking the letters. Chain stitch creates a deeper image with more texture than the back stitch. A little bit of that waxy chalk where I have the outline of my letters. Okay, so the same way that you threaded your needle for your back stitch is the same way you're gonna thread your needle for the chain stitch. I'm gonna start at the edge of the C right here, and you're gonna go up. You're gonna push through the edge of the fabric, pull it all the way through, dip that needle right back down where you came out of, push it up the other way, maybe 1/4 inch or so, while the needle's still in the garment like this, and wrap it around the top, like that. Pull the thread, and that is your first loop. Now to create the second one, I'm gonna do the same thing on the inside of this loop, push down, push up a little 1/4 inch or so farther down while the needle's still in the fabric. You're going to take the thread, wrap it around the top, and pull through. 2 loops.
Yay!
The more curved your letters are, or the images, the smaller your stitches will be, just to create that turn. Okay, dipping it back through, up again, 1/4 inch over, and pulling it through. Hand embroidery I learned just by watching videos. There's so many beautiful vintage items with hand stitch embroidery, whether it's like a bowling shirt or even like old westerns have some interesting stitching on it sometimes when you find them. And I always thought it would be cool to try to replicate that myself. So these two are just simple techniques on how to stitch, but you can take it so far.
Any mistakes that could happen when you're doing this?
So many mistakes. Your thread get knotted up. If it does, just take a deep breath and unwind it. So like right here, this looks a little twisted up, but if I just keep pulling my thread, there it is. Okay, so there's my first letter C. I'm gonna tie it off now. Separate these 2 threads, pull the 2 apart, and then you're gonna knot these 2. Embroidery thread can be a little sensitive, so you don't wanna pull on it too much, otherwise it'll just fall apart. Trim your excess thread. Same process for the next letter. Okay, so now I'm at the end of my line. I've finished the top of the letter T, and I want to finish and seal that last chain loop. So what I'm gonna do is, do you see how it lifts up a little bit? You're gonna pull it flat, hold that edge of the thread, then take your needle and stick it right on the other side. Flip it over, pull it all the way through, so that it's sealed down. And then you're gonna tie your knot. There you have it. Now here we have our finished monogrammed, chain stitched mosaic vest. That's so many words. We have a little speech bubble. She loves Chinatown Market, this woman right here, and she just wants to scream it out. So here are 2 easy applications, back stitch and a chain stitch, to customize your Chinatown Market merchandise. Get some thread, stitch it up, personalize your garments, and we cannot wait to see them. Bye.